Good morning, entrepreneurs. You are tuned in to the Non-Corporate Network, the worldwide leader in entrepreneurship. I am joined by my co-host,
Dustin Trout.
And we are here to bring you the top 6 trending small business headlines. It's been a busy weekend. We got some big stories to cover. We'll debate these stories for 3 minutes each, and we each give our takes. And we don't have any political agenda to follow. This is unbiased, real, raw, to help you to stay woke as a business owner. Yeah, that's about all I got. Dustin, you want to tell them where they can be tuned in on this?
Yeah, you can tune in to the podcast, any major channel that you download your podcast from iTunes to Google Podcasts and more. YouTube, our website, ncn.broadcast. Leave anything out?
Well, it's ncnbroadcast.com, but other than that, yeah.
Just probably brush up on that.
Okay. Well, I think without further ado, we're ready to kick this bad boy off.
Let's go ahead and dive into the first story. So 40% of working parents either reduce their hours or quit their job during the pandemic. So due to the closures, schools had to shut down, obviously. And so parents were struggling to juggle work, childcare, and helping with their children's education, wearing many different hats. 25% of parents voluntarily cut their hours, while 15% quit entirely. Of those who quit, 38% don't plan to rejoin the workforce. An additional 5% said their partner had to reduce their hours as well. As mentioned, the biggest reason is due to childcare. Those who have been impacted the most have been the women. They were impacted disproportionately, with 63% of working mothers forced to be the handler of child duties. Really, the recommendation was that, employers and employees need to have a good conversation around flexible working hours. A lot of this could be avoided had, open hours outside of 9 to 5 really would have helped all this. So Chaz, my argument is, will 9 to 5 not really be business hours here pretty soon? And what does the future look like for childcare?
Yeah, well, it's a lot to unpack. One thing I'll say is that these numbers are a lot higher than I thought in terms of voluntary work reductions. And, it begs the question, when we had 50 million people unemployed, how many people are actually truly leaving the workforce that aren't collecting unemployment? And so, I wonder how this affects the GDP. I wonder how it affects our economy, having people reduce the amount of involvement that they have in their company, and probably not spend as much because they're not making as much. So, very interesting trends. But, the big thing I think when I hear, 9 to 5 might not be around, is that when it comes to retail, when it comes to foot traffic and actual in-person business being done, if we get rid of 9 to 5 and move everything online, it's going to really hurt the smaller businesses. We can compete in retail as a small business because you have a brick and mortar location. You're in a specific area where there's a set of alternatives. When you go online, now you don't necessarily have the economies of scale. You don't have the SEO power. You don't have all of the endless R&D budget and advertising budget. It's hard to compete, and it's easy to get kicked out by the big boys when it comes to e-commerce. So I think it's a big risk to say 9 to 5 is out the window if we don't want to continue to permutate this. I
don't think everything's going to go digital. It's 9 to 5 doesn't mean all retail brick and mortar is closed. It just means that brick and mortar might be open from 5 a.m. to midnight or 24 hours a day. It just means that we're not closing hours, essentially, which I think will be great, because then, if people were allowed to work whatever hours they wanted, then how many times have you gone in and it's like, dang, the dentist is only open 9 to 5. I can't do that, or I got to take time off. It creates more flexibility, which is then going to create more jobs because more spending is going to happen. I think this is going to put more money in the pockets of families if employers can allow the flexibility of working outside of 9 to 5, as long as the work's getting done. But
yeah. No, I hear you. It's interesting. We'll see what happens.
So going on to our next story here locally, ASU. So they're ranked in the top 10 universities for technology companies who are getting hired. So really, a survey done by SHL analyzed the LinkedIn profiles of 17 of the biggest and most exclusive technology companies. ASU ranked number 6 on their list when looking at public and private schools. If you look at just public, which ASU is, they rank number 4. The University of Washington ranks number 1 on the list overall. So really, should Arizona be looked at as more of a tech hub? I mean, we got electric vehicles coming here. We got more companies coming here in the tech sector. Got this story. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of students that go to ASU. And I mean, shoot, I was back in Georgia and they had a radio advertisement they were playing saying ASU online, like register today. It's like, this is a nationwide presence. And, ASU is one of the universities that's proven that they can handle this amount of volume. And so I think just based on the fact that their like raw reach across the US has gotten so big that it's not surprising to see that they're pumping out a lot of talent. And obviously that's why companies are moving here. It's a huge pool of labor that's created. I think the things that people don't understand about university though, is that a lot of this revenue that's being generated is being put right back into investments, whether it's in real estate or whether it's in research. And so, it's a testament to the profitability of the university that they're making so much money off of this amount of people coming in. And so, I mean, they're going to continue to grow until, I did see that Google launched a $49 a month college credit. So, maybe there'll be an unbundling, but we'll see.
No, and as you put it, I mean, it makes you kind of scratch your head. As everyone can agree, we're sitting on a huge bubble when it comes to student loan debt. But as you just mentioned, a majority of the tuition that comes in just gets reinvested into real estate and all that. I mean, at what point do we say, hey, you know what? Like the American people are being taken advantage of as you guys are investing and growing your profits and all that. I mean, on our last episode, we talked about, erasing the debt, which that would be huge. But at the end of the day, when are we going to have more regulation on what the education system is doing? And maybe it's not regulation. Maybe it's Google coming in. And I mean, we were doing the math before this, as you mentioned, what was it, $49 a month or something like that? Right. And you can actually get a degree that's accepted by employers. I mean, that comes out to right around $2,400 for a 4-year degree, which, I mean, if I'm stuck with, hey, I got this degree from Google at $2,400, or I can go to ASU and it's going to cost me $50,000, I'm going to go over to Google because it's probably going to be more respected.
$50,000 a year,
that is true. $50,000 a year. I mean, if you're out of state, I mean, it adds up. And so I think there's going to be a big change in the higher education. I think I thought federal regulation was going to cause it, but I think innovation from Google and the tech side is really what's going to cause it.
When you got all these students that are becoming, employees being pumped right out of ASU, it's like, got to give back to them a little bit.
Yep. So going on to our next story, finally, China's ByteDance gets the Trump nod to avoid a TikTok shutdown. So TikTok will be owned by a new company called TikTok Global. They'll be headquartered in the United States. Oracle has taken a 12.5% stake in TikTok Global, and Oracle will be used to store all the U.S. user data on its cloud. It'll be in compliance with the U.S. national security, and it'll be regulated by the U.S. national security as well. Retail giant Walmart also got a 7.5% stake in TikTok, although we don't know what their contribution is as well. But overall, with the agreement, ByteDance agrees to create 25,000 new U.S. jobs at TikTok. This next part is a little blurry. I mean, it's even happening and unfolding in real time, but at the agreement, there was a last minute tax that was going to be included. Of it would carve out about $5 billion for education. Now, I don't know where education fits into all this. I mean, I think we can all agree that the U.S. education system is more, could be funded a little bit more. And so I think that this would be sweet. But overall, Chaz, do you think this is a good deal for everyone involved? Is this a security issue for the U.S. Citizens, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I hope that the government has done their due diligence. It seems like we've heard so much about the things that we're not willing to compromise on in terms of how the data is stored, how the data is parsed, how the data is distributed, how it's monetized. And so, you hope that there's enough regulation up right now. Oracle has kind of been able to function in the Wild West of data. And so, there's not a whole lot of regulation on some of what they're doing, but I don't know. I think it's a good deal. I love Walmart's involvement in the deal. I mean, shoot, man, like the retail application here, the appealing to the younger generation. Bye Amazon, Dustin. I think that, this is an amazing deal for them. And yeah, I mean, you just hope that Oracle can be responsible with this. They haven't had the type of social media prowess that any other companies have. So this is kind of a first shot at it for them. So hopefully they bring in the right personnel.
Yeah, no, I think it was a race to who can be involved just to get some penetration to that younger demographic. And I mean, Walmart is definitely there and in the mix, which it'll be interesting to see how they do take on Amazon. I mean, it's the younger demographic, so it probably won't be felt for the next, 1 to 5 years. But as that demographic grows older, going to be a much better affiliation or connotation towards Walmart. I mean, if you ask someone that's a little bit older, it's just, oh yeah, that's that China stuff. And it's not the best connotation. Whereas I think they're primed to change that perception quite a bit. One thing that's interesting is they mentioned that the U.S. needs to have a majority stake in all of it, but with these two mergers, it doesn't equate to that. But now China is saying, well, there's like 30-35% of major companies have a stake in TikTok, the parent company, and so with that, that's how they own it. So it's not, I don't know. There's a lot of, as you would say, ambiguity in all this, and it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah. Well, at least there's some competition for Facebook.
Exactly.
That's
good for the consumer.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get to the next story, I want to mention that we are powered by State 48. The most comfortable shirts on planet Earth with some amazing partnerships that they're doing as well. Dustin, do you have anything you want to mention about State 48?
Yeah, doing a ton for the community. Not only as Chaz mentioned, they have extremely comfortable clothing, stylish, but they're also doing a lot of partnerships with nonprofits and donating some of the proceeds to what they stand for. So great clothing, great for the community. Check them out, state48.com.
We appreciate you guys. So getting into our next story, Microsoft is acquiring Bethesda Software. Parent company is ZeniMax. This company is responsible for games like Doom and Fallout. They have a new game coming out called Starfield that will be exclusive to the Xbox. Dustin, this deal was done for $7.5 billion in cash. We all have that amount of cash laying around. So, but is this a better deal for Microsoft than their attempts to buy TikTok? And what does this do for them? How does this set them up long term?
Well, I mean, in terms of business divisions, I mean, they don't have a great track record when it comes to social media platforms and running that. So, I mean, I don't know if they would have been the best company for this. And they have a great track record with the Xbox and the gaming industry. So in terms of what's already being profitable, I mean, the gaming industry is where it's at. And so I think immediate turn on investment is there with this. I think it's a better deal. But I mean, as we mentioned in that previous story, I mean, the ability to reach how many younger people through the TikTok platform is a huge opportunity to position your brand in good eyes in terms of the younger demographic. So they might be missing some opportunity there, but I think in terms of short-term profitability and revenue, I think this is a much better deal for them.
Yeah, they've just moved so slow with all the opportunities that they've had. You think about Skype, they had that for so long. And then Zoom comes out of nowhere and just destroys them. And now we're seeing the same thing with their attempt to buy TikTok. I mean, they have LinkedIn, they have Bing, like there's a lot of things that they have, but I see there being so many opportunities that they haven't capitalized on. And so, I mean, you hope that something like this can help them. I mean, we saw kind of the Epic Games partnerships. And so I think the PS5 is going to be really where they make their money. Like you said, Dustin, they've been very successful in the gaming world. It's poised for growth. So they have to handle this one right and, really have this crush it for them if they want to make up for some of the opportunities missed over the last couple of years, to say the least.
Yeah, it seems like they do a good job at maybe not leading innovation, but I mean, they do a fairly good job at kind of replicating other people's models. I mean, it's you mentioned Bing and Bing ads. It's literally you can just hit a button and it duplicates everything from Google, and they do really good at replicating what other people do and filling in some gaps. But I mean, to your point, not necessarily sure that they are innovators and leading in the new space.
It's all siloed. It's like Skype is by itself. And then they did Microsoft Teams, I get, but it's like the Skype is by itself. LinkedIn is by itself. Like these things like the search engine, like all of this should be tied together a little bit more. You can't hate on them too much though. If they have 7.5 billion in cash laying around, they must be doing something right. But yeah, I mean, they probably would have been outgunned on the TikTok acquisition anyway. So,
Yep.
All right, getting into our next story, Facebook will let people claim ownership of images and issue takedown requests. We've seen a lot of reposting happening on platforms like Instagram where, you screenshot a post or you repost someone else's post. And, this has definitely been a culprit of not only some copyright infringing, but also some fake news being spread. And so, this kind of kills two birds with one stone, I think, in Facebook's mind. But, this is interesting. You can apply for copyright and then people have a chance to dispute that or to also request copyright. But usually it's issued to the first person that requests the ownership of the image. But Dustin, is this the best course of action? And, what are the implications of a policy like this?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people, comment whenever you share something saying you didn't give credit to the original poster and all that. I mean, sometimes it's shared like 300 times and I doubt anyone's going to take an hour and a half to go credit them. But I mean, I don't know how much of a negative impact this whole thing is. I think like what you just mentioned with the copyright stuff, I think, people are going to go in and gobble a ton of copyright, whether they own it or not, just to have that date. And so, I mean, in terms of how this is going, I mean, what it all boils down to, it seems like it's trying to help content creators, but I think how they've set things up, it might actually hurt them where if I create something, just, what might be an infographic or whatever, someone could take a picture and make a copyright. Now I can't do anything because they did that first. And so you might be hindering those content creators that might not have, a business side to them and really thinking of that. They're just creating to create. So it could hinder, the content creator, could hinder companies' virality if they're post. And I mean, what are your thoughts? You think it's good?
Facebook has been going back and forth as a platform and a publisher whenever it's most convenient. And so, when it comes to content moderation, okay, we're the publisher. We have a responsibility to make sure that there's no hate speech going out. But then something like this comes around and they're like, oh yeah, we'll let you copyright it because we're just the platform. Like you're the publisher, you own the data. And it's like, we've seen how this model hasn't worked and it's been difficult trying to put your foot in the ground. These policies keep getting made on the fly and there's precedents that are being set left and right. And I mean, you can act like you understand what's happening in Facebook, but when you're moving so reactionary to these things, it just, you don't know until you make a policy and it works or it doesn't. And it's tough, but
Yeah, I mean, it's how you got to have someone draw a line in the sand. It's like, are you a publisher? That's what I'm getting lost at is like, everyone's trying to play what is going to benefit them in that current situation. It's like, all right, if regulation is coming down from a platform, okay, well, I'm a publisher. And it's the other way around. It's like, we need something that draws a line in the sand that you're either a publisher or you're not. But they're
monetizing some things, not monetizing other things. Australia news outlets want to be monetized and compensated for their content they create. Like it's just it's a big pile of who knows what's happening. And let's pretend like we have a plan as we make the plan on the fly. Well, I digress. Getting into our next story, Lights fighting viruses. SRP is rebating germ-killing ultraviolet tech for Arizona businesses. So SRP has been working with ultraviolet light to disinfect and biosecure commercial equipment such as helmets and uniforms. And they're promoting this technology as killing germs for all its commercial customers. I got a quote here from a representative that says, we worked with our program partners and identified UVGI as an effective and proven technology that has been used in healthcare heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems for decades. So, Dustin, is this going to be something that's more standard where you can kind of use this ultraviolet light to pretty much cleanse your clothing or you when you walk into, a business or somewhere in public?
Yeah, no, I think it's a huge opportunity. I think it's going to be an industry that just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, even as COVID passes, if it were to stop right now, people are still going to be health conscious. They're still going to be, they're going to be wanting that hygiene aspect. And if we can make the world, more of a germ-free place, I think people are going to want that. One, I think businesses will be able to, if they buy it and actually leverage it, be able to use it in their marketing to drive foot traffic or online sales, whatever it may be. But I think there is going to be a huge boom in devices, things that we see. It's like, if most businesses are already taking temperature of everyone that's coming in, why not just have something that just immediately disinfects them? And then we don't have to worry about it. Like, that's more of a proactive approach.
Well, I mean, these businesses are pandering to, the perception that it's all safe. Like, I was at Topgolf the other day and they've got like these big spray bottles out, like wiping down the clubs. And, it's like, we already know that COVID can't be transmitted through, touching something. Or at least that's what CDC has said, who knows? But it's like they do that in public. So all of the customers can see, hey, we're being health conscious. And so, I think it's the next best thing. Now you just have a light wand that you just wave like a metal detector in TSA. And when somebody walks in and it's like, you've created that perception. It's more efficient. You're not having to, get out there with a dirty rag and wipe down 1,000 clubs, So I think it could definitely be something that's disruptive and definitely something that just becomes standard instantly.
Yeah, I mean, you could take it as far as, who knows, maybe they'll figure something out where you could literally brush your teeth and wash your hair and you don't even have to take showers or, bathe in the morning. You just walk through you just walk through your bedroom door, you have the light turned on and boom, you're completely clean. Like,
I don't know if that's how it's going to work.
But I mean, in all seriousness, I think people are definitely going to want more of a precaution, whether, I mean, like you said, whether it's spraying something where we know that it's probably not, doing anything positive. It's still there. People are still taking precautions. I think there's gonna be a huge opportunity in this industry.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. I could definitely see this being another Zoom. It's just all of a sudden everybody just knows exactly what it is, and in 2 weeks everybody's got one.
Yep.
Well, I mean, looking back at the stories, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. The big thing that I think, I'm just a big social media nerd, so seeing the whole copyright conversation with Facebook where you're allowed to own the images, where since 2009 when they were launched and Instagram, everything, it's been, they own all the content and you have a license to your own content. And so, shifting that I think is very interesting.
Yeah, no, my favorite was the whole TikTok news, not so much the news that they're okaying it, but more so, what does this 25,000 jobs look like over what span of time? And really, I'm more interested in this $5 billion education fund. What is going to be done with it and how it'll be used? So
yeah,
only time will tell.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. Well, thank you guys for tuning in again. You can check us out at Entreprenews on the podcast. Where are we at? Does it like 50, 53? What episode are we at?
We're at 62. Ooh. Almost to the outer space, man.
Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. You check us out on the podcast. If you like what you hear, if we keep you woke, tell a friend about us, tell a business owner about us. We want to make sure that we're bringing the real and raw stories of things that affect, the trends in technology and how you apply it to your business. So again, this has been Entreprenews on the Non-Corporate Network, the worldwide leader in entrepreneurship. Dustin, anything you want to mention before we let the people go?
No, appreciate you tuning in. And Chaz, looking good. Clothing looks better than your arguments. But
oh my gosh,
we'll see you guys Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, they really sneaking
I just
that
had
one in there.
I had to just throw it in and cut it off.
Sneaking that one in there. All right.
Thought you'd like it.
No, I mean,
Been trying to figure out a way to kind of throw that in.
I think that it's more just that you're just fishing for a way to feel like you're winning these. We got the tally. I got the tally in my brain. I'm about 95% win rate.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys Wednesday.